Kyle had never been to this planet before. It was a dusty trade world near the edge of the galactic border, full of strange creatures and bright-colored buildings. He had come only to buy supplies for his small transport ship. The market smelled like spices, metal, and something he couldn't name. Alien voices filled the air, and translator bots buzzed overhead. He just wanted to get some dried food packs and leave, but everything changed in an instant. While Kyle reached into his pocket to pay for some fruit, a loud, sharp sound rang through. The air like metal slamming into stone. Everyone froze. The merchant in front of him stopped moving. A deep shadow fell over Kyle's shoulder. When he turned around, he saw them. 4 tall alien officers stood behind him. Their armor was silver and black, with strange blue lights across their arms and chest. Their eyes were hidden behind smooth, round masks. Each one carried a rod-like weapon on their backs. They pointed at Kyle and said something he didn't understand. "I'm sorry, what?" Kyle asked, confused. They didn't answer. One of them stepped forward and grabbed his arm firmly. Another pulled out a small metal device and pressed it against his neck. There was a sharp sting. Kyle felt dizzy. "Wait, I didn't..." He tried to speak, but his legs became weak. His words didn't come out right. Before he could think, the world tilted. Everything around him turned into noise and light. Kyle woke up in a cold, dimly lit room. The floor was smooth metal. The walls glowed faintly, and there was no window, no furniture, just a single light above him and a locked door. His head hurt. He sat up slowly, rubbing the side of his neck. "Where am I?" he whispered. He had no idea how long he'd been unconscious. Minutes? Hours? Suddenly the door slid open. 2 more alien officers walked in. These ones looked older. One of them had golden patterns on his armor. Without a word, they motioned for him to stand up. Kyle raised his hands. "Can someone tell me what's going on?" They didn't answer. One of them pressed a button on a panel by the door. A force field appeared around Kyle and lifted him gently off the ground. He floated forward, trapped in the invisible field. Like a bubble, he was carried through long metallic corridors with glowing signs written in symbols he couldn't read. Other aliens passed by and stared at him. Some looked surprised. Others whispered to each other. Finally, he was brought into a large room. It looked like a courtroom, but very different from any on Earth. There were floating seats, strange creatures watching from above, and a tall platform at the front. Behind the platform sat 3 alien judges, each one tall and glowing with a soft shimmer under their skin. One of them spoke in a deep voice that echoed through the room. Kyle blinked. "I don't understand you." Still no translator. No help, just more alien words. Then a new voice called from behind the chamber. "Wait, I'm the assigned translator for the human." A young alien girl ran forward. She had soft green skin, large violet eyes, and short silver hair tied behind her head. She looked nervous but determined. She wore a badge on her uniform and a small device on her wrist. She looked at Kyle. "Do you understand me now?" she asked, her voice shaky but clear. Kyle nodded, finally relieved. "Yes, thank you." "Please tell me what's going on." She looked up at the judges. "The human says he doesn't understand the charges. I will translate." The judge spoke again. The girl hesitated, then turned to Kyle. "You are being charged with assaulting a council-born on this planet 3. Hours ago." Kyle's eyes widened. "What? I didn't do that. I was just buying fruit." The girl looked surprised. "You say you didn't attack anyone?" "Of course not," Kyle said. "I just landed here for supplies. I haven't hurt anyone." She translated his words back to the judges. They listened but gave no reaction. The lead judge tapped something on his panel. A screen behind them showed blurry footage, an alien figure wearing a helmet, punching someone in an alley. The attacker wore something that looked like human clothing. "That's not me," Kyle said firmly. "You can't even see the face." The girl nodded slowly. "It is hard to tell. But the attacker's clothes are similar to yours, because I bought them at a trade station. Lots of people wear this stuff." She looked at him, then back at the screen. The judges whispered among themselves in their language. The lead one finally spoke, and the girl translated. You will remain in custody until further review. If no evidence proves otherwise, your punishment will be decided in 2 rotations. Kyle stood in silence. 2 rotations? That could mean days or weeks. He looked around the strange courtroom, surrounded by aliens who thought he was guilty. He felt small, alone, and completely out of place. But one thing was clear now. He needed to prove his innocence, and fast. After being taken from the courtroom, Kyle was placed in a small, plain cell. The walls were smooth and gray, and there was a small bench fixed to one side. A faint humming noise filled the air. Outside the door, alien footsteps echoed, reminding him he was not free. He sat down and tried to think. How could this have happened? He only came for supplies, yet now he was treated like a criminal. He wished he had a way to explain himself. Hours passed. Suddenly the door opened, and a young alien entered. She was the same girl from the courtroom, the translator. Her name was Ilari. Kyle noticed how different she looked from the others. Her eyes held kindness and curiosity. "I am Ilari," she said softly. "I will help you." Kyle nodded gratefully. "Thank you. I don't know why they think I did something wrong." "I didn't attack anyone." Ilari looked sad. "You are the first human I have ever seen." "I don't know much about your world." Kyle smiled. "I'm from Earth. It's a planet far away." She listened closely as Kyle explained his trip, how he came to the market, and how he never left the crowd. "I think someone is trying to blame you for a crime you didn't commit," Kyle said quietly. Ilari sighed. "The council is very strict. They fear trouble from outsiders." "We have to prove I'm innocent," Kyle said. "But I don't know how." Ilari nodded. "Tomorrow there will be a hearing. I will be your translator." The next day, Kyle was brought back to the courtroom. This time, Ilari stood beside him, translating every word. The judges sat high on their platform, watching carefully. The prosecutor, an alien with dark scales and sharp eyes, spoke loudly in their language. Ilari translated, "Kyle, you are accused of attacking a council-born noble. The crime happened 3 hours ago in the Eastern District." Kyle shook his head. "I was not there. I don't even know this noble. Where were you then?" Ilari asked quietly. "In the market, buying supplies," Kyle said. "I can ask merchants if they saw me." The judges murmured. The prosecutor called a witness next, a gruff alien merchant. He stepped forward, looking at Kyle suspiciously. "I sell food in the Eastern market," he said. "I saw a man wearing human-style clothes run away from a fight. Near my stall, he left quickly. It looked like he was hiding." Kyle's heart sank. "That was not me. I was right in front of your stall." Ilari spoke fast, translating. The judges seemed confused but quiet. Next, Kyle asked if he could speak. The lead judge nodded. Kyle took a deep breath. "I want to prove I didn't attack anyone. I was at the market all the time." "You can check security cameras," Ilari translated. The judges whispered again. After a few moments, the lead judge said, "We will review all data. You will remain in custody until the verdict." Kyle was taken back to his cell. Days passed slowly. Kyle waited anxiously. Ilari visited often, bringing news and small comforts. One afternoon, she came with surprising information. "Kyle," she said, "I found something. The real attacker may not be human." Kyle looked up sharply. "What do you mean?" "There is a record from a security camera," Ilari said. "It shows someone dressed like a human, but with only 4 fingers. Kyle held up his hands. "I have 5 fingers on each hand." "That can't be me," Ilari smiled. "Exactly. I think someone is wearing a disguise to frame you." Kyle felt hope for the first time. "But," Ilari added, "the council will not believe me without proof." Kyle clenched his fists. "Then we must find the proof." Ilari nodded. "I will try to get the footage." She explained how she worked in the council offices and could access some records. "You are risking a lot," Kyle said. "If they catch you, it could be dangerous," Ilari smiled bravely. "Sometimes you must take risks to do what is right." That night, Kyle could barely sleep. The strange cell felt colder, but the thought of Ilari helping him gave him strength. The next day, Ilari returned quietly to his cell. "I have the footage," she whispered. Kyle's eyes grew wide. We need to watch it together, Ilari said. Come with me. She led him through dark corridors. Kyle was careful not to make noise. Ilari stopped at a door guarded by 2 officers. I have clearance, she said, showing her badge. The officers nodded and let them pass. Inside, a room glowed softly with screens and data streams. Ilari found the footage quickly. They sat side by side as the screen showed a shadowy figure in the Eastern District. The figure wore a helmet and human-like clothes. The camera showed the attacker's hand clearly, only 4 fingers. Kyle stared. That's not me, Ilari smiled. This is what we needed. Suddenly alarms blared. What's happening? Kyle asked, alarmed. Ilari's face turned serious. They discovered we took the footage without permission. We need to get out, Kyle said. Ilari nodded. They left the room quickly, but guards were waiting. Ilari pulled a small device from her pocket and pressed a button. A hidden door opened behind them. They slipped inside and ran down narrow tunnels. Kyle's heart pounded. Finally, they stopped in a small maintenance room. Ilari caught her breath. That was close, Kyle smiled. You saved me. Ilari looked serious. Now we have proof. We must show this to the council. Kyle nodded. I trust you. Kyle and Ilari sat quietly in the small maintenance room, catching their breath. The stolen footage was saved on a small device in Ilari's hand. This was the proof they needed to clear Kyle's name. Yet, both knew the next day, Kyle was taken back to his cell. He sat silently, thinking about Ilari's plan. Then, to his surprise, Ilari appeared again, looking nervous but determined. I found the technician, she whispered. His name is Jorvik. Jorvik was an older alien with pale skin and a rough voice. He worked in a cold, dark room filled with blinking machines. Ilari led Kyle there, hoping the technician would listen. Jorvik frowned when he saw Kyle. Human? What do you want? Ilari stepped forward. Jorvik, this human is innocent. The real attacker is someone else. Please, help us check the full footage, Jorvik grunted. I don't like humans. They cause trouble. Kyle smiled softly. I understand. But I only want the truth. Jorvik studied Kyle for a moment. Then he nodded slowly. Fine, I will help. But if you lie, I will report you. Together, they looked through the security. Records.jorvik pointed at a video from the Eastern District on the day of the attack. Here, the footage showed a figure wearing a helmet and human clothes, but the hands were visible. Only 4 fingers. Jorvik said. That is not human. No human has 4 fingers. Kyle felt relief. Exactly. Someone is pretending to be human to frame me, Ilari added. This person is powerful. They want to hide their crime. Jorvik frowned deeply. This is serious. While they studied the footage, Kyle asked, Can we find out who this really is? Jorvik tapped on the controls. Enhancing the video, a symbol appeared on the attacker's armor. Strange emblem of a noble alien family known for their influence in the council. Kyle's eyes widened. They are trying to use me to cover their attack, Jorvik sighed. Yes, if this gets out, it could cause chaos. Ilari looked worried. We must be careful. If this noble finds out we have proof, they may try to silence us. Kyle said, then we must act fast. That evening, Ilari returned to Kyle's cell with a small hope. I spoke with some friends. They believe we should show the footage to the council directly. Only the elders can judge fairly, Kyle nodded. But the elders listen only to those with power, Ilari smiled softly. You showed courage in the courtroom, that matters. Kyle took a deep breath. I just want justice. The next day, Kyle was escorted again to the courtroom. This time, he felt more ready. Ilari stood by his side, holding the device with the footage. The judges watched silently. The lead judge spoke. Kyle, you have new evidence. Present it now. Ilari stepped forward and played the video. Everyone in the room watched closely. The 4-fingered attacker appeared clearly on the screen. The prosecutor's face darkened. He whispered to the judges. The lead judge then said, This evidence changes the case. But it is incomplete. Kyle frowned. What else do you need? The judge replied, We must confirm the attacker's identity and the motive. Until then, do you mean? Ilari looked at him with respect. Humans are different. You fight. With words and courage, not just power, Kyle smiled faintly. Maybe that will be enough. Days passed slowly. Ilari continued to visit, bringing small comforts and words of encouragement. One day, a message arrived from the elder counselor, a wise, silent figure who had watched the trial quietly. He requested a private meeting with Kyle. Kyle felt nervous but hopeful when he met the elder counselor. The alien's eyes were calm but sharp. You have shown great courage. Human, the elder said slowly. Kyle bowed his head slightly. Thank you. The elder continued, the council has seen the footage. We will investigate fully. Your patience is needed. Kyle nodded. I understand. The elder smiled slightly. Your presence here has already changed many minds. Kyle wondered what he meant. Back in his cell, Kyle thought about everything. From a simple visit to the market. He had been caught in a storm of alien politics, but one thing was certain. He was not just a visitor anymore. He was a man who could stand strong against injustice, even in a world far from home, and with Ilari's help, he might just win. Kyle sat quietly in his cell, staring at the cold gray walls. Days had passed since. The elder counselor had promised a full investigation, but nothing had changed. The waiting was the hardest part. Every moment felt heavy with uncertainty. Ilari had visited him often, her soft voice bringing small comfort. But today she looked different, more serious, almost worried. Kyle, she said, lowering her voice. I have a plan, but it is risky. Kyle's eyes widened. Escape? That sounds dangerous. Ilari nodded. It is. But if we don't act now, the real criminal may cover their tracks. Kyle stood slowly. I trust you, Ilari. Let's do this. That night, Ilari returned to his cell with a small device. This will unlock your door and create a safe path, she whispered. Kyle smiled nervously. Thank you. She pressed the device against the lock. A soft click sounded. The door slid open silently. They moved quickly through dark hallways. Careful not to alert the guards, Ilari guided him through maintenance tunnels. She knew from her work in the council offices the air was cool and smelled like metal. Strange sounds echoed in the distance. Suddenly an alarm began to beep. Run! Ilari shouted. They sprinted faster, heartbeats pounding, turning a corner. They saw 2 guards blocking the path. Ilari pressed another button on her device. A hidden door slid open on the side. They slipped inside just before the guards reached them. Inside the small room, Kyle gasped for air. That was close, he said. Ilari nodded. We can't stay here long. After catching their breath, Ilari led Kyle to the archives. It was a large room filled with glowing screens and rows of data storage. In the corner sat a grumpy alien technician, Jorvik, the same one who helped them before. Jorvik looked up, frowning. What are you 2 doing here? You know this is forbidden. Ilari stepped forward. We need your help to prove Kyle's innocence. Jorvik grunted. You brought trouble to my door. Kyle looked him in the eyes. Please, Jorvik. I only want the truth to come out. Jorvik sighed but nodded. Fine, but if this goes wrong, you are on your own. Together they searched the archives for the full footage from the day of the attack. Jorvik pointed to a file deep in the system. Here it is. Ilari connected the device to a screen. The footage showed the 4-fingered attacker clearly removing the helmet to reveal a proud alien noble. Kyle watched, amazed. So that's who tried to frame me, Jorvik frowned. This noble family has many friends in the council. They do not want this to get out. Ilari whispered, then we must be careful with this information. Suddenly the room's lights flickered. The door hissed open. More guards entered. Jorvik grunted. We have been discovered. Ilari grabbed Kyle's hand. Come with me. They ran through a back exit. Jorvik opened. Outside, the cool night air greeted them. Kyle took a deep breath. That was too close, Ilari smiled. But we have what we need. They decided to go to the elder counselor's private chambers. To deliver the evidence directly, the elder counselor listened carefully as Ilari and Kyle presented the full footage. He was calm, but his eyes showed surprise. This changes everything, he said slowly. Kyle felt hope rising inside him. The elder nodded to his guards. Take this to the council. Let justice be done. Kyle looked at Ilari with gratitude. Without you, I would still be locked away, he said. Ilari smiled softly. You showed courage, Kyle. That is what matters. As they left the chamber, Kyle realized how much he had changed. From a visitor caught in a strange world, he had become a fighter for truth. He looked at Ilari. What happens next? She shrugged. Now, we wait, but this time I believe the truth will win. Kyle smiled. I hope you're right. Days after the elder counselor had taken the evidence to the council, Kyle and Ilari waited anxiously for the next hearing. The courtroom was filled with whispers and curious looks. Everyone knew something important was happening. Kyle stood beside Ilari, trying to calm his nerves. This time he felt more ready. The stolen footage was strong proof, but the council was known to be strict and cautious. The lead judge entered the room, followed by the other judges. The hall fell silent. Kyle, the lead judge began, the council has reviewed the evidence. You and your translator brought? The footage clearly shows an attacker disguised as a human. However, the council finds the evidence incomplete. Kyle's heart sank. Incomplete? What more do you need? The judge explained, we require confirmation of the attacker's identity and motive before we can rule. Until then, you remain in custody. Kyle clenched his fists. He wanted to argue but held back. Ilari whispered, Don't lose hope. This is only a step. The prosecutor stood up. My lords, this footage challenges the original charge. But without full proof, we cannot free this human yet. Kyle felt frustrated. I have done nothing wrong. A murmur ran through the courtroom. Back in his cell, Kyle's frustration grew. Days passed slowly. Ilari kept visiting him, encouraging him to stay strong. One day, a message arrived from the elder counselor requesting a private meeting. Kyle was surprised but hopeful. In the meeting room, the elder counselor greeted him with a calm smile. Kyle, he said, you have shown great courage and patience. The council is watching you closely. Kyle nodded. I just want justice. The elder leaned forward. Your actions have begun to change how many see humans. You are different from what we expected. Kyle looked puzzled. How? The elder smiled softly. You speak with respect, seek truth, and do not back down. These are qualities we admire. Kyle felt a small hope grow inside him. The elder added, we will continue investigating. Your freedom may depend on more than just proof. Kyle nodded. I understand. Ilari returned with news. The council is divided, she said. Some want to free you, others fear what it means for their power. Kyle sighed. It's politics, not justice. Ilari smiled sadly. Yes, but your courage has made a difference. Kyle looked at her. What can I do now? Ilari thought. Sometimes words can change more than evidence. You must speak to the council. Kyle was surprised. Me? I'm just a human, Ilari smiled. That is exactly why they need to hear you. The next hearing was different. Kyle was given a chance to speak before the council. Standing tall, he looked at the judges. My lords, he began, I come from a world far away. I did not come here to cause harm. I was accused wrongly, and I have shown you proof. He paused. But more than proof, I ask for understanding. Kyle spoke clearly and calmly. Humans may be strangers to you, but we value truth and fairness. I ask you not to judge me by fear or suspicion, but by facts and honor. The room was silent. Ilari translated every word carefully. After Kyle finished, an elder counselor who had been quiet spoke up. Your words are different from others who have come before. You do not demand nor threaten. You ask for justice with respect, the council murmured. The lead judge nodded slowly. We will review the case with new eyes. Kyle felt a weight lift from his shoulders. Back in his cell, Kyle and Ilari waited. Suddenly the door opened. The lead judge entered. Kyle, he said, the council has reached a decision. Kyle stood quickly. You are cleared of all charges. The real attacker will be punished. Kyle's heart leaped with joy. Ilari smiled widely. The lead judge continued. We apologize for the delay. Your courage and honesty have earned you respect. Kyle bowed his head. Thank you. As Kyle prepared to leave the council's custody, he thought about his journey, From a simple trip for supplies, he had become a symbol of hope. Ellery stood by his side. What will you do now? She asked. Kyle smiled. I want to go home. Ellery nodded. But I believe your story is not finished. Kyle looked at her. What do you mean? Ellery's eyes sparkled. You have changed their minds about humans? The council may want you to stay, Kyle laughed softly. Then I guess my adventure is just beginning. Kyle thought that after being cleared, he would finally be free to return to Earth. But the council had other plans. The moment he stepped out of the courtroom, the elder counselor approached him with a calm smile. Kyle, the elder said softly, your bravery has not gone unnoticed. The council would like to offer you a position, a chance to serve as a human envoy. Kyle blinked in surprise. An envoy? What does that mean? Ellery stepped beside him. It means you would represent humans to the council. You would be the first human to hold this role. Kyle looked at the elder. I don't want power or titles. I just want to go home, the elder smiled gently. This is not just about power. It is about trust. You showed courage, honesty, and respect. The council believes you can help bridge the gap between humans and other species. Kyle thought for a moment. He remembered the long days in the cell, the fear, the confusion. But he also remembered Ellery's kindness and the hope he found. In the truth, all right, Kyle said finally, I will do it. Ellery was happy. I will help you learn their ways. This will not be easy, Kyle nodded. I'm ready. The council arranged for Kyle to stay in a special part of the city where he could meet other ambassadors and learn alien customs. It was strange and new, but he welcomed the challenge. His first meeting was with the elder counselor, who explained the delicate politics of the galaxy. Many species feared humans because they were unknown and unpredictable. Kyle listened carefully. I want to change that, the elder smiled. You already have. Over the next weeks, Kyle worked closely with Ellery. She taught him the language, the customs, and the unspoken rules of diplomacy. Kyle was a quick learner, and his honesty won respect. One day, while attending a meeting with several noble aliens, Kyle noticed something strange. A group whispered nervously when he entered. They avoided his eyes. Later, Ellery told him, those nobles are connected to the family that tried to frame you. Kyle's eyes narrowed. Are they still trying? To harm me? Ellery shook her head, not openly. But you must be careful. Despite the warnings, Kyle kept his focus. He wanted to prove that humans could be trusted partners. One evening, as Kyle walked through the gardens near the council hall, he was approached by an elderly alien woman. She had soft silver skin and wise eyes. You are brave, human, she said gently. Many do not understand you. Kyle bowed slightly. Thank you, ma'am, she smiled. I once was like you, new to this world. If you ever need help, find me. With that, she turned and disappeared into the shadows. Kyle felt a new sense of hope. Back in his quarters, Kyle reflected on how far he had come. From a confused visitor arrested without reason, he had become a respected figure in the galaxies. Politics. But he knew this was only the beginning. Suddenly, a message arrived from the council. The noble family that had tried to frame Kyle was being investigated. The council was taking steps to remove their influence. Kyle smiled. Justice was finally starting to take hold. Ellery looked at him with pride. You changed their minds. You changed the council. Kyle nodded. I couldn't have done it without you. They both looked toward the stars, wondering what the future held. Kyle stood on the balcony of the council's high tower, looking out at the vast city below. The stars above shone brightly, reminding him of Earth, his distant home. It had been a long journey since that day in the alien market when everything changed. Ellery joined him quietly. You have come far, Kyle. He smiled softly. I never expected any of this. From being arrested to standing here. She nodded. You changed many minds. Not just in the council, but in many worlds. Kyle looked at her. I thought I would only be a visitor. Now I am something more. Ellery's eyes sparkled. The council has decided to make you the first human envoy. This means you will speak for Earth among the stars. Kyle felt the weight of the honor. It's a big responsibility, Ilari smiled, and you are ready. The next day, Kyle was called to a special ceremony. The council gathered with aliens of many shapes and colors. The elder counselor spoke with respect. Kyle, you have shown courage, honesty, and strength. We welcome you as Earth's representative. May you bring peace and friendship between our worlds. Kyle bowed deeply. Thank you. I will do my best. Life as an envoy was not easy. Kyle learned new languages, customs, and traditions. He attended meetings, helped solve disputes, and shared stories about humans. At times, it was lonely. He missed Earth and the simple life he once knew. But he understood the importance of his role. Ilari remained by his side, guiding him through challenges. Their friendship grew stronger. One evening, while walking in the gardens, Kyle met the elderly alien woman again, the one who had offered help long ago. She smiled warmly. You have done well, Kyle. You have brought hope. Kyle thanked her. I could not have done it without friends like you and Ilari. She nodded. The universe is wide, but kindness connects us all. News came that the noble family who had tried to frame Kyle had lost their power. The council worked to make sure justice was served. Kyle felt relief. Justice is important everywhere, Ilari agreed. Yes, and sometimes it takes courage to stand for it. As time passed, Kyle found himself invited to many worlds. He shared human stories and in return learned about alien cultures. He saw how different species could work together when given a chance. One day, during a meeting with the council, Kyle spoke plainly. Humans may be new here, but we bring hope and strength. We want to be friends, not enemies. The council listened. Slowly, doors opened. Kyle's journey, which began with fear and confusion, had become a story of trust and friendship. He had shown that humans could face challenges with courage and respect. As he looked up at the stars, Kyle knew his path was just beginning. The galaxy was vast, but so was the chance for peace.